It is December 3rd, 2009, which means we're about 20 days away from Christmas and 28 days away from the end of the year. This is an interesting video because it was actually requested by someone that I know, who partakes in a hobby that I do called e-wrestling, specifically in a one of the federations called Shootfire Pro Wrestling. Now I'm going to do something that I probably shouldn't do and endorse the motherfucker, and the link is going to be put over here. Yeah, unfortunately I'm going to endorse them. Now let me try to explain this place to you. 95%, yeah, because there are very few that aren't, there are very few that aren't, 95% of them are smug a-holes. Okay? I've done the hobby for 13 years. To give you an idea of what e-wrestling is, let's do the basics here. Y'all if you ever played Dungeons and Dragons or Might and Magic or some bullshit like that, it's basically a big fucking nerd experiment. The problem is, most people aren't going to be, 10 years old. They're going to be in Loserville, like 40. Yeah. Okay, maybe younger than that, but still. The idea is that you, yes you, create the persona of a wrestler, then you write a wrestler's promo as if he was competing on, say, WWE, ECW, TNA, Dragon's Gate, or whatever the fuck the promotion is. Here's where it gets really fun, kids. You see, some of these people are really high-strung, as in, the minute you cause any form of drama, they're on you like a fly on shit. So what do? Well, you do about the only thing you can, and that's try to stay out of it. The problem is, once they're on you, they don't get off of you. And they usually only plug their boys. Now, I'm guilty of that. I'm the first to admit it. But this is typically a good old boys network where if you've known people for X amount of time, you push them to the moon. Otherwise, fuck it. Yeah. And here's what's even better. A lot of the feds, this one in particular called Shootfire Pro, try to mimic either, like I said, WWE or TNA. Why? Because they ain't got no goddamn creativity of their own. Now, here would be a thought. Instead of saying that your promotion is the Mr. Big Shit from the gate, why don't they ever just start off small? Like you go to gyms, armories, or whatever, and then work your way to a big promotion. Shootfire Pro's allegedly been around for like 10 years. Okay? This can be fabricated when you consider the fact that for the most part they've actually had a bunch of delays. I should know, because in my first run it took me forever to get the first match for my wrestlers. Oh, and here's a better one. I get ripped a lot of the time because I'm the master of a gimmick where I have a gay tag team or a lesbian tag team. Something that not many people have ever tried to do in professional wrestling without getting poked fun at or ridiculed or just have their fed head go. So what happens? They usually get buried. The good thing for me is because I know how to run them, they don't really bury me. They might if they see this video. Because see, I'm not thin-skinned like most of these a-holes. They're just really, really smug and don't know any better. Now, the member of Shootfire Pro that requested this video basically wanted to see what I would say or do. The problem is, there's not much nice I can say about the company because lately their booking has been in the what the fuck category. Yeah, it's like trying to watch WWE, except it's on paper, so you have to read it. And if you're going to read one of their shows, I suggest you set aside about half your day because the spacing looks like somebody's like quadruple spacing every fucking thing. Okay, it's not that bad anymore. It used to be. Now it just takes about, if you're lucky, reading a quote hour takes about an hour and a half. If you like to take your time, however, I suggest setting aside like 3. And then, of course, you have to wonder, does anybody actually read the whole show, or do they just read their stuff and their buddies? Which, again, I've been guilty of. Like I said, but some feds are actually taking a different approach. Another fed, which is actually one of their feeders, and I hate saying that, only because I actually like the promotion, and I want to see it do well on its own, and not have to be an associated with Shootfire, called Demented Creation, or it's either Demented Creations or Dangerous Creations. Anyway, I do know it's called DCWL, and the guy that runs is named John, and he's super cool. And he's, so far from what I can tell, not super controlling. Matter of fact, their super card is coming up soon, so you might want to check that out. Oh, and by the way, what's really cool is apparently they use like Fire Pro Wrestling returns to do their matches, and then they post them to this website or whatever, and have the videos in case you want to watch them. Actually, that's how you know who won or lost, rather than looking down below at the results to see who won. They do, however, simulate the amount of time in the results of who won and lost, and that's pretty cool. I would go more in depth into this, but you see, I only get 10 minutes, and I'm trying to actually beat the clock. The only other thing I will say about Shootfire Pro is, if you really want to check the place out, I will give the link. For what I know, the applications are shut, and you may find some cool folks that aren't pretentious douchebags. Actually, if you want to know the honest truth, I'm actually considerably mellow in the game. I just tend to be a little bit competitive or worry about my characters being butchered. By the way, one of my more successful teams is called the Revolution. One of the characters was based off of a Japanese animation, and the other was just my original idea to begin with. They are a lesbian tag team, but they're an uber cool one, and they do nothing sexual, crude, or explicit. If all goes well, they'll be in DCWL, and they'll stay there for a good while and own the place. Here's hoping, right? Anyway, that's all for me for right now. My name is Amy's Row, and this has been my point of view.